I'm back. Welcome to today's video about your light and your purpose and how to keep the negative away from your energy when you observe it or when you're around it. So if you're new here, my name is Aphrodite Venus. You can call me Venus for Aphrodite. And thank you so much for joining on in. I know right now people are not as active right now, but if you're joining this live, make sure you give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe. Because your light irritates some people. It could be your family, it could be your coworker, it could just be the people around you, and it's not you, it's something wrong with them. And not everybody is consciously awakened, ascending, but you are. You master you master your own elements, and now you're at this stage where you can master what everybody else is lacking in their ability. We all have abilities, we all have spiritual gifts, but when you are a seer like me, you can adopt, you can take in on other people's energy and take on their spiritual gift without them knowing, because you tapped in or they tapped into you, vice versa. And a lot of time I find myself being tapped into negative and positive, but I learned that when you overcome a part of yourself, you can either attract negative people who've been in that same situation or positive people, and but they've been in a different situation. The reason why it took you so long to find the consciousness, the right type of people to talk about what you talk about, to talk about what you know, and then you still find yourself around the same vibration that was lower before meeting the highest. You have to go low to go high. You can't go from above and go low. I mean, you can. Most of us, we had operated that way throughout our whole journey. And I realized, some of us, we've been keeping on track and then falling off at the same time with our spiritual journey. Like, we'll tap in, tap on, tap off. Oh, say this is real, this is not real. We'll ask a bunch of people who experience what we experience, but it's not quite the same, but similar. At least you're getting answers. But the real answers is within you, when you remember, or when you know why you have that specific gift or that specific thing, like vision. You know, a lot of us have vision, and I realize the majority of the time when I am getting vision, it's a warning throughout my day that I had experienced this before, and it becomes like deja vu. For the past couple of weeks, been feeling like deja vu because I stepped outside of time, not trying to create my day or what it is that I want to do, but then something that I do during the day of that moment kind of gives me that deja vu, like this is a dream, this is a warning, and I start telling everybody around me, like, I don't care if I'm looked at weird or like she's crazy, because like I get shut down when I start talking spiritual and certain people. And I get it. Not everybody is at that level. That's why I come up here so that I can be free to talk about it. But I don't really care for the criticism. You can judge me all you want. You can criticize me all you want. I get criticized and judged every day. We all do, like on a daily basis. It's how you like just take it, how you handle it, what you do with that information, how you can transform it. That is like totally up to you. Like right now, celebrities they got their own mm, like type of transformation right now. It's not it's not synthetic. It's more of a well, yeah, it's synthetic. It's not real. It's not a natural spirit order that they're following. Cause like you can see it all in the face. You can see it all in the body. Like even with me, like when I'm quantum jumping, I'm also quantum physics. Like in the body, like I didn't look like this like a couple of days ago or a week ago, and something within me is like just drastically changing from my eating habits to what I wear to how I speak, how I say certain words. It's just this is a part of you that is consciously aware, and it's always gonna be aware. And the thing is, like when you're around low vibrational people, they're gonna always remind you of your past. It's up to you to decide if you're gonna be triggered by it. But when you flip those triggers, you can flip it into good reaction, into good vibration. When you receive the message, when you receive the backlash, because I remember during my first like spiritual awakening, we had multiple awakenings throughout the year, um, throughout the months, throughout the weeks, throughout the days. And what I notice when I am spiritually tapped in, spiritually awakened, everything within me changes. And also my perspective around people that have a negative vibration, it becomes positive. You can kind of like tune it with your own emotions. All they have to do is just express what it is that you're seeing in 3D form, and also what you are feeling in the 4th D and the 9th D when you're in the ether, when you're in spirit. And then it kind of like can match itself with the picture. But 9 out of 10, some of us are around like warlocks, witches, and NPCs, souls who don't know how to communicate on a spiritual level, but you can help them communicate on a spiritual level by tapping yourself into their frequency, but not becoming their frequency. You can kind of give them a seed and drop it and go. So like what they're doing with these celebrities, while these celebrities are changing, like Selena Gomez, like Miley Cyrus, and them two, I've been channeling like crazy because all over my 40 page, just them, and they're always at an event and not really doing much, but you can tell that that the consciousness been swapped, and we as spiritual people, the regulars, the not the robotic ones, not the clones, us real people. We can do that too consciously. We do it every day without realizing. But the way that we do it and how they have to do it is totally different. They do the same thing, but they're more extreme where they want the consciousness to stay. So with us, how it happens when our consciousness is switched, we can be switched by birth. I always believed that I was switched by birth, not by in body, but like my consciousness was switched with maybe like an ancestor probably. And the only time that I was able to get the real spirit of me out is when I allowed that ancestor to have a memory for me to visualize, for me to remember, and they want to see it through my mind. I want to relive it and experience it again through my body, which a lot of us do, and it's only those that choose to accept it. And you can do this with deities as well. Like certain deities, they will come down and be an embodiment of your lover, and it's like you won't know it. You'll peep that something is off if you've been paying attention to their routine, to how they treat you, to how they treat others, and throughout the day. And then you can also just call forward of that entity or that deity within that person. Like we all carry entities and deities within our codes. And it's only throughout moments of the day when they're activated, when something is triggered. Some people might say cold words around you, like something specific, something you have no clue that it will be said, and they will start to like get in your subconscious of that being, of that spirit that's in you, that's in your DNA, and like why they do this, so that like these souls, these original souls that was here before you, here before this body, here before this avatar of you, so that they can keep reliving um, reliving their own light through your light without you consciously knowing. Like a lot of celebrities will transfer their old light into these like newer celebrities, but these newer celebrities are the same celebrities that we've been seeing, just different look, different wig, or whatever the case may be. They could be cloned. And like this happens with TikTokers too. TikTokers as well. They, I don't know, they do this for a reason, to have this agenda, to have control over the psyche, the human mind, and the spirit. But they cannot measure the spirit as equally as they want to, because they know that the spirit will eventually wake up, so they attack the mind as much as possible. That's why some of us, when we went through spiritual warfare, or still going through it, we go through it daily, but it's just for those who are awakened and realize they're being attacked. It's not an attack anymore when you're fighting back, when you're cleansing, and when you're doing all this good stuff to your body and to your spirit, and they're not doing anything about their spirit. Let them be. But you can wake them up, and you can plant a seed, but you can also control that seed, just like how they was controlling your seed before you even came to this body. So it's like, the more that they keep doing this, so the world doesn't keep populated. One, that's one reason why they keep alternating or switching out souls. If it is a new body on Earth, 9 out of 10 or like 7 out of 10, that body's spirit is either gonna fight to keep itself on Earth, or it's gonna let whatever something else outside of it to control it, to spend more time on this earth than we do. How many times can you remember a good thought? How many times can you remember a bad thought? Can you remember more of your nightmares than your good dreams? Can you Do you think you can see into the future or into the past or into the present? Because the only way to see into the present, you really gotta be present. You really gotta be in it. Like your spirit has to be in your soul. You can't switch something else outside of you because then that version of you is just like, alright, I'm gonna let you take over for a minute. I'm gonna let you have this moment to replay whatever it is you want me subconsciously to remember. The reason why it's like that is so that they can get information from that time period to bring back what's happening in their current situation, whatever dimension that soul is from. Like I said, sometimes when babies are born and they're born from the mother, right? And that soul has like what, maybe 3 to 6 seconds or maybe minutes before in the room to decide what type of soul it wants to be embodied in the body. It's not gonna know that it's fully spirit until it has some type of trauma awakening. So throughout the whole journey of this infinite growing up, it's gonna experience its own light eventually. It's not gonna know why certain people are irritated by its light. It's just gonna be aware that, oh, you're just irritated by my presence. But sooner or later, when that infinite grows up into like a toddler, to it begins to walk other spirits along with inside of that infinite agree to being on earth. We all did this, like, to this is just an example of like how it actually happens when you turn on your light and turn it off, and why certain people are just irritated by it or irritated by your presence. What makes you you, and what makes other people comfortable around you. This is how it works. So when this infinite grows up, it's going to be surrounded by two different groups. One group will be light, one group will be dark. This infinite has a task of exposing all truth and be in its spiritual purpose and willing and knowing, or it can just choose to have whatever, it can be a vessel to another realm instead. But the thing is, we don't have a choice what type of spirit comes within us. It's only in that moment of perspective that triggers the spirit within you, or just not the first stage spirit, but there's the secondary spirit, a secondary soul. Just like how there's another sun, there's a sun in the sky, there's two suns, right? There's also two yous. And then there's also a doppelganger that is doing exactly what you're doing, having the exact same life or a different life, but they have different soul. Yeah, the same mind, they look exactly like you, dress like you, might be even go through the same thing as you, but one version of you, which is the doppelganger, and then the version of you that is not experiencing the you now, has a different path. It has a way of figuring out everything before you do, seeing everything before you do. So your doppelganger is real. I had, for the past couple of weeks, even when I got here, months, I had people tell me that there's a person that looks like me when they come across, like everything from the T, and I'm like, And she lives in New York. So that's probably why I kept having visions of myself in New York. I was seeing what my doppelganger was already doing, and I wanted to pursue it to see if I can do it. She was giving me the access, the key to the codes of my own ability. That's why I got the eye. So this is the eye of thought, not the eye of horse. It's backwards. The eye of thought will be the opposite. I meant the eye of horse will be the opposite. It will be the other way around. This is the feminine. I chose to activate my feminine. But I'm still surrounded by people, other energy, who don't quite understand their own energy, if they're masculine or feminine. And then I start absorbing it, and then I'm like, because I do this thing, like, I can get into people consciousness. And you can too. We all done it. We do it every day. Some of us are just more aware of it and able to keep tapped in. And these celebrities they're draining when you tap into their subconscious and you try to come back to the original you, to this body, to this current body. It's soul travel. It's light travel. Not every avatar has a light. There's not a light bulb inside their brain when you enter it, or when you enter in their third eye, or whatever chakra is not lit up. So what I do sometimes before I even consider doing that, like, I do this if I want to learn something. I do this with tattooing. I'll go inside of another artist's mind, think how they think, feel how they feel, start eating what they're eating, and stuff like that. But you don't necessarily take it that far. You can just go in their mind and begin to feel how they feel. And the reason why I had discovered this was during intimacy. So I ended up learning how to travel solely through consciousness, and I've been doing this for a while. So I didn't get good until about like 3 years ago. And when I first did it, it felt weird. It felt unfamiliar, but then familiar at the same time. Like I had this gift for a long time. We all have it. Just happened. We really do. So anyway, back to the story. So when this infinite grows up with these groups of people, remind you it. Group A is the light. Hi, welcome on in. Nice to see you. How are you? So there's group A, and group A is light. Group B is darkness. Say that you're the infinite or the child or the toddler that's grown. From the age of 0, it's just a vessel. It has no spirit. That's why when the child closes his eyes and doesn't want to see the light, because it knows that the light will irritate him because it doesn't have a vessel yet. So as the child grows up to experience all these emotions and develop its own personality, that personality is not of its own. It's only programmed. Like, we went through this. We was programmed our personality. We was taught how to think, how to feel, and what colors to like. Until I started to know the meanings of colors when I got older. I started studying shaman work when I was about like 12. Maybe younger than that. And then I always had the gift. Like, even when I was 5. When I was 5, I had my first vision of like people passing away, family members, and it was always through the dead for some reason at the beginning of the stage of my awakening. So you can imagine at the age of 5, I went through a lot of trauma, rape, sexual stuff. So that activated my gift. And I can remember the first night when it happened, after it happened, all these visions of my future, seeing myself in New York, seeing myself in other places started to happen. But I realized I was always, like, my spirit was always stuck into somebody's consciousness, and I did not know who. Yes, you can get stuck in people consciousness when you're intimate, or if you got molested, if you got raped. They can hold on to your energy for like 10 to 15 years and use your vessel and use your soul. But like what I did to enlighten my soul, to tell myself that I exist, that I am my body, I had to go through more extreme pain. So, and then after that, I started calming down and visualizing my life. I would look up photos of light. I would have things of nature that remind me of light, not my past. Not my past isn't my past is my darkness, but also my light. It depends on what memory I tap myself into. So, so now this infinite is aware of all of that, right? In the beginning, it does not have a vessel. Well, in the beginning, it's just a vessel. It does not have a soul. It even shows you on Stranger Things, like if you're watching Stranger Things, like especially in season 5, and then in the beginning of this second season or third season when Will got taken, that's how our soul is like transmuted by these entities, by these deities. It's from the mind first, but at the same time, it's also in reality. They just transfer it differently to make it, because like they can't really do the shit that they want to do in that dimension that they're doing it from. So they will break you in multiple ways until it forms into that reality. So as I realized this as a kid, when I was just like going through all this shit, I realized, alright, they're trying to like activate me, use something within my spirit that I didn't even know about. So all these ancestors like started contacting me. The first one that came to me was my grandmother. And then my grandmother knew me, but I did not know her. She took care of me when I was younger, but she passed away in 2009, I believe. I'm trying to remember. I got the obituary, but I remember going to her funeral. And every time I'm at a funeral, that's when the veil is lifted. Like, I can see all the warlocks, I can see all the witches who are in my family. Like, there would be this one particular white guy that will always be in everyone's funeral, and I'm like, yo, this is like maybe the 6th or 7th time I'm remembering it. I'm like, how did you know my uncle? How did you know this and that third? What's up, Jay? Hey, what's up, Venus? You are survivor for sure. Yeah, I know. I tell myself that all the time. I try not to let it like trigger me, but if I do, it's for a good reason. It's something for me to know and to remember. But yeah. Anyway, so I'll see this white man, this white Caucasian man. He was dressed the same in every funeral. And I remember the last time I saw him when my cousin had passed away. My cousin's the same age as me. So he passed away at the same age when we grew up. So he would have been 30 right now. He passed away when he was like 23, 24. And I seen like moments before it would happen, and I will also see this white man coming into my dreams and into my vision. He would talk to me, and then that day that I saw him at my Uncle Bunny funeral, I was like, I said to myself, I'm like, how did this nigga know my Uncle Bunny? Because, like, my uncle was really big in, in Mississippi. He used to own, like, a school. He had helped build half of Mississippi during the Katrina, or, like, donate and shit. And I have my, like, superstitions about my family. Like, my grandmother was a Freemason, Eastern Star. Grandfather was a Freemason, and a couple of cousins as well. And then I ended up becoming next, but I don't participate in rituals or anything, or I don't receive anything or any gifts that they give me. They just let me have the knowledge and shit, so I rock with it. That's the only thing. So I believe that this man was like some type of soul collector, like one of the one of the four horsemen. Like, I just knew it. I couldn't. Well, I did prove it. I could prove it because of the rings that he was wearing and the way that he was dressed. Yeah, that was obvious. But it was his spirit that made it more obvious. I'm like, he was the only white man. I'm like, who is this guy? Nobody could tell me if he was friends with my uncle and my cousins and all of them. Like, each time somebody would pass away in my family, he would always be there. And I remember seeing him when I was about like 7 years old. And then but luckily the passing stopped. I haven't heard anybody pass away in a long time. Like, the curse is gone, I guess. But knock on wood, so I'm just saying, like, I haven't heard about any of my family members passing away in a long time since I turned like 27. And I haven't been in a funeral in a while. I hope not to. I don't know who's next when I get these visions. Anyway. So yeah, I was just seeing this man, and he was collecting souls and shit. And like, when I saw him at my cousin's, for some odd reason, like I could see my cousin's spirit just walking around the funeral. He was at his own funeral, just like watching. And I could see the white man staring where my cousin was walking at or sitting at. And I'm the only one that was just like observing, looking around. Everybody was just paying attention to the body and the pastor. And I was like, okay. But I kept my eye on that white man for as long as I could remember. So, anyway, back to the toddler. So this toddler is going to grow up and realize some things. Like, why do my presence irritate some people? Well, young fella, I don't know why I said that. There are demons who are on this earth who do not like certain beings with a certain light. And if you come across those beings who trigger you, give you hard times, make you belittle yourself, make you feel like you're untrustworthy, don't listen to them, because they know that there's a bigger light inside of you that they want to harness and get rid of. Not necessarily get rid of it, because you can't get rid of light. Just like you can't get rid of darkness. Just like you can't get rid of the past. The past moves on forward when you're in the future too. Even if you think you forgot about it, you really haven't forgot about it. I'm just lucky enough to transmute it, and this is what you gotta do. You gotta transmute that energy. You can't let it always consume at all. Like, you can't. If you do it for a good reason. Do it because you want to be a better version of yourself. And so these beings, they're going to turn it on for you. And they're also going to try to control it for you. But there's always a way with your will. That's why Will in Stranger Things, his name is Will. They're calling him the Will, the fortune, the unfortunate one. But then he becomes the fortunate when Will had activated his powers. For those who have not seen it yet, sorry. But, like, you can tell in Stranger Things this was like a spiritual warfare. Like, Will was going through this. Like, he was surrounded by Group A and Group B, darkness, and he became both. He became both empaths, and it's possible. I'm both empaths. I'm darkness and I'm light. But to these NPCs or people who always claim, "Oh, I'm woke. I'm wide awake too." No, they're not. They're not woken at all. Cause like how you woken and you're still doing your low vibrational shit, like your low vibrational habits. Like me, I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But I'm just saying, you're not fully woke. You only know half of the truth. So that's why when he went to the underworld or the upside down, we went there too. Or we call it the other side of the moon, and we came out with a different soul. Or we just activated or programmed that soul that was already programmed within us. The toddler or the infinite will eventually have his own choice. Like right now, kids, if you look at kids now, if you look at your own children now, if you looked at how you program them and how your parents program yourself, like program you, and how your parents got programmed, you eventually create some type of blueprint to what all of this mean. It doesn't mean anything, like, to be honest, not on a spiritual spectrum or a science level. It's just something that exists within us to keep being programmed. So when Will in Stranger Things activated his gift, that was a symbol of him being dark and light. When we went through our upside down, for me, I was in there for like 15 years and then some. Remind you, I'm 30. And it wasn't until I was about, I want to say, when did I like fully embrace my gift? Like, for me to tell my spirit I'm spirit. I think I was about like 15. 15. Yeah, I remember too. I'm not gonna get into specific details. Well, yeah, I will. Actually, it was ninth grade. Ninth grade when I was sitting underneath the gym. We had a gym in ninth grade. Well, we still do. Still did. Okay. There was a gym and there was a classroom underneath the gym, and there was double doors. That shit made me feel like Stranger Things that day, because this room was like very hot and damp, and there was no air conditioning. It just had a white. It was facing like all the student desks, like, you know, was facing in the front. The door was on to his right. And I can remember all my classmates. I think I'm astral projecting to it, but in a memory. um, I remember who was sitting next to me. I remember who was sitting in front of me. And I also remember who was behind me. That's the same room that they will use for SSI. Not SSI. For, like, if you get in trouble, you go to that room. Or for ROTC. I had ROTC. I hated it. I love the uniform, but I hated it every time I would have to dress up in a uniform. I just love the routine that we did in the morning. That was the only thing. But anyway, so during that time, I was on ADHD medication. I experienced a lot of weird shit. Like, my mom, I don't know why she made me take ADHD medication and for, like, my anxiety type stuff. Yeah, but that opened up gateways to more things. I'll make a separate video about that. Why I'm able to do what I do because of those things. And that's what every spiritual person might have gone through that, like, little phase. And yeah, so I remember being in that room, in that classroom. I remember my first time, like, stepping outside of my body. I fell asleep during class by mistake because it was so hot. It was too heated. It felt like I was in a gym or something. I was in a gym, but, like, you know, like the actual gym, like with equipment and stuff. And I remember falling asleep. I remember the first time I stepped outside of my body, I was just only in the classroom. And then we only had, like, 5 or 6 minutes left at that time. I remember that my consciousness was, like, slipping away. I wasn't on anything. I just had my ADHD medicine. I didn't smoke. I wasn't smoking back then. That was until after I discovered weed. And I remember standing in the corner of the room, and then I started going through the walls. Like, I travel like a ghost. I was going through the walls, and I was going through classrooms, seeing what everybody was doing. And then I end up sinking into the earth. Like, first, it became the concrete. I was walking on concrete. Then my feet started sinking into the concrete. Then it became inside of the dirt. I was in the dirt. I remember seeing every particles of the dirt, the bugs, and all that stuff. And then I eventually hit, like, the ocean and then rock bottom. I was, like, in some type of, like, lake of fire type shit. And then I found myself, like, rising back up. I risen back up. And I was back in my classroom. I was back in my body. That felt like 3 minutes of being gone out of my body. Like, I was traveling with my light because I remember seeing my light shine brighter inside of the darkness that I was in. And then ever since that day, I started having, like, paranormal activity shit happening around me. In my home, in my school. I wasn't working. I wasn't able to work until I was about, like, 20. My mom just had a whole issue with me working, and still do. I'm like, I'm 30. Why can't I not work? I know why, but still, it's just weird. But yeah, I just remember being in that moment of space outside of my body. And I think somebody looked at me that day. day too. Like, not me sleeping, but I could see a student looking at me when I was astral projecting. And I didn't explain to them what they saw because it was hard to explain. Didn't nobody know what none of this shit was in the beginning. And that's when I started discovering meditation and reading on books about shaman and traveling and the conscious mind. And I was like, I waited till I was about like what 20 something or like 23, 24 now until now to actually come up here to express what I experienced. These are real life shit. So yeah. And then eventually, when we grow up, our light tends to get more heavier for some people. They want to do all that they can to control you, manipulate you, gaslight you, make you think you're out of your mind instead of in of your mind, because they want whatever that is that they had placed upon you when you was an infinite. Like, for me, I have no baby pictures. I have some, like just one or two, but not infinite baby pictures. I only have just of that age of 5 and 4. And I'm like, I'm wondering why. Like my real dad doesn't have photos of me. My mom doesn't have photos of me. But there's every other photo of everybody else in that. So I'm like, who did you switch my consciousness with? I got into a conclusion. Like, it's my grandmother. I know that for sure. Because they will always call her name around me. And I'm like, especially when I'm acting like her. I'm like, yo. And then, too, I believe she might have switched consciousness with me and my brother. Or try to destiny swap with me and my brother. But I end up having his path anyway, going homeless and shit. But it's okay. It is what it is. I already saw. That's why I'm able to have, like, certain things in my path more than he did. Or more than what my grandma did. Because my grandma, the ancestor, is giving me the key. And you can't manipulate her in spirit form either. Like, you just can't. And to trick me and not to pursue what it is that I desire. And because we're all here for a reason. Is to create. And we shouldn't be in competition with ourselves, with our peers, with our students. Like, it's just crazy. Just live for you and live for your path. That's all.